What's up there, fellas? How you doing? Hola, ¿cómo está? Ooh la la, ooh la la. Welcome to Famous Football. I'm your host, Nate. Let's talk football. Well, let's get into it. Today we're going to be discussing Premier League Week 1 review. So I'm going to be giving my review for Premier League Week 1. What a week. What a week. It's been an interesting one. Seeing there's a couple of shockers here and there, and obviously there are teams we expected to win that did win. There was some we expected to win that didn't win. There where the shock comes in, but it was a pretty much interesting week, and so we're gonna be discussing from Liverpool game, on Friday, Man United and Arsenal, Chelsea, City, West Ham, Burnley, everything, the entire game. I think all 20 games, if I'm not mistaken. Not 20, but 10 games. 10 or 9, yes. Out of 10 or 9 games, if I'm not mistaken. I think there should be one game today. I know there's usually a game on Monday, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But let's get into it. Let's get into it, right? We begin with Liverpool. Liverpool play on Friday. They being the champion with the opening game against Bournemouth, right? That game, well, everyone expected Liverpool to dominate the game. So, and Bournemouth went there with Bournemouth went with a plan as well. So they didn't just to catch Liverpool on a counter, and that worked. Where we saw Semenyo 2 goals in that came in the game, and he was brilliant for Bournemouth in that entire game. And most people think Bournemouth gonna be relegated, considering the fact that they lost most of their some of their important players that was in the squad last season, like some players that was in the midfield, and now one of the obvious one was Dean Hudson that left to go to Real Madrid. So a lot of people thinking that Bournemouth gonna pretty much fold this season, or they're gonna be relegated, or they won't really do much. But seeing what they did against Liverpool, they held their own. I won't lie to you. They gave Liverpool a little bit of a competition, which was good, right? If Liverpool came back to win the game, they were up 2-0, Bournemouth equalized 2-2, and then Liverpool came back to score to win the game with what's his name? Because Ekitike scored the first goal, and then Ekitike, Gakpo, and Chiesa, and then of course the big man himself, Mo Salah. But Liverpool won that game. It was an interesting game, beautiful game, and now they're doing pretty well. So let's see what comes in the next week, right? The next week of the Premier League. But congratulations to Liverpool, and Bournemouth also looking good. So I'm not going to rule them out for the entire season. Now, I don't think they're going to win the Premier League or they're going to do anything insane, but they are looking good. I know people think they will be relegated, like I said, but I don't think they are going to be relegated, considering what I've seen them with Liverpool. I don't think their playing style changed at all from what they had last season and what they have going on this season as well. So I feel like the energy stayed there, some sort of the aggression that stayed there. Their playing philosophy, they still maintain it, and they can do great things with it. Now, if they can just bring in players that will come in as to kind of keep what they had last season, I think that would be good, and then they will do good. But let's move on. So Aston Villa and Newcastle. This game didn't really go. Nothing much really happened. In terms of goals, there wasn't really goal. The game ended 0-0, and that was pretty much it. But again, I know Newcastle. Isak didn't play. We know the whole Newcastle Isak whatever that is going on saga, right? But nothing really much happened in terms of that game, so it ended up 0-0. Newcastle, I think, I won't say they were the favorite. Looking at Aston Villa have been good and somewhat consistent over the last two seasons or so. So I think it was a good match. Now, it ending 0-0. I think it's a mid-table kind of battle, right? Mid-table club battle. So that was a pretty good one for them. And let's see what happens if Newcastle going to bring in the players they want to bring in. I know they already have Elanga. They also got another guy from Aston Villa as well. So let's see what happens with that in terms of their transfer. But I know for sure they're looking to bring more people in. They're linked with Jackson, and then I know they have other people that they link with as well. So let's see what happens with that. And Aston Villa is also interested in Jackson. So hey, maybe whoever I won this game would have taken Jackson, but nobody won. So now we're back to square one. But we move to Brighton and Fulham, right? Another mid-table kind of clash, right? I said the mid-table clash. Nothing really happened there. It just 1-1. It was a straightforward game. I think Brighton scored first, and then in the 97th minute, Fulham responded with an equalizing goal, which which is phenomenal for them. But to get a point from there, I know. So that was pretty good. I know Brighton was home as well, so good for Fulham. But let's see what this season can do. I know Brighton lost one of their very good players to Chelsea in João Pedro, and I don't know if they're gonna lose. I don't think they're gonna lose what's his name, Baliba, because they already told me that Baliba is not for sale, at least for this summer. So they're keeping him around. And but the squad they have, I don't think much have changed. They still have Mitoma and a couple other good players as there that stay in that squad. So in terms of their squad, I think it's still the same, and they can still do whatever they want to do. But Brighton is definitely a team to look at in this season. They've always been around that 6, 7, 8, 6, 7 position around there in the Premier League. So let's see what they can do again, right, this coming season. But hopefully you don't do anything crazy, because hey, the Blues, we in there. Now Sunderland and West Ham. This was the shocker for me. At least the shocker of the week for me was this game. This particular game was the shocker of the week. Sunderland and West Ham. Now I expected West Ham to win, because whoever that make a prediction, all the people that make prediction that this, the Premier League prediction, they all predicted maybe Sunderland would be around, did not expect them to be good. Now I didn't watch the game. I couldn't really watch all of the game, but I watched the highlight and I pay attention to the stat as well. And they're not bad. Sunderland doesn't look bad. I watched the highlight. All of what I see is basically them taking it to West Ham. West Ham barely could do anything. They were, in terms of chances created, they were just like one after the other. They were aggressive. They were, their tackles were in. Everything they needed to do, they were doing. It's like they had a game plan against West Ham, and it was working. I don't know what Graham Potter was doing. I don't know what he did, or I don't know what his plan was, or I don't know what he was thinking. But whatever he was thinking, apparently it didn't work, right? Sunderland, they look good. Two of their goal came from crosses into the box. So either West Ham is just terrible at dealing with that, or they're just good at with crosses as well. Two of their goals came from there, and beautiful finish, by the way, beautiful finish. Listen, they're definitely a team to watch now, right? And I think they're not gonna fold. I don't think they are gonna fold at all in this. Whoever they play now, obviously when they come against the big boys, you will see, we'll know what they're doing. But again, it's a whole flipping 38 game, right? You just play one, there's 37 games left. So can you keep the same consistency? Can you continue with this? Again, that's the question. Now that's why I think most people think they're gonna finish, in the bottom half of the league, right? They're gonna finish the bottom half, and I can disagree. I can disagree with that, because I don't think they can keep that level, right? They can keep it. They might be able to keep it, considering they have one game. But then you're discussing the quality of player as well. That you have, like, you competing with people that have been competing in the league for at least 3, 4, 5 years. There are some been in there for eternity, and then you just coming in. So of course the competition is going to be high. If you want to stay there for next season, you're going to work twice as hard than even those people that have already been there. Despite you playing one game a season, and some of them playing one game a week, and some of them playing 3 games, 2 games a week, you have to work twice as hard than them, because to some extent there's some sort of an experiential knowledge they have now. Sunderland might have, but the squad that they have right now, I'm not sure how much of them was in the Premier League before. Now I know that they are very good recruitment. They have Cherki, they have they recruited another guy from Brighton as well, Atingra. So they have, in terms of recruitment, they're doing pretty well, and they're doing pretty good with it. So which kind of explain why they were able to compete with West Ham in terms of that. So they bring experienced people in that already play in the league, that have been in the league. So they kind of add that knowledge, together, and then they benefit from it. So well done to Sunderland. And West Ham, come on, Graham Potter, man, pick it up, bro. Pick it up, bro. Now you get West Ham. I think that's the perfect place for you to be. Chelsea was not it, right? Brighton was also a perfect place. You good at those mid-table areas. Now pick it up. You can't start the season like this, bro. You cannot. Pick it up, man. But congratulations to Sunderland. Let's see what they can do in the league. And we move. Spurs, our neighbors. our neighbors on the other side of London, right? Well, it's more like Arsenal neighbors, but we in the same city. We in the same city in that. But Spurs, Burnley, and Burnley is another team that just got promoted into the league as well, right? They also made a pretty decent recruitment in terms of Kyle Walker, Amano Broya, and then you also have they recruit another guy from Chelsea as well, and I'm just forgetting the name, another midfielder, right? That's a decent recruitment. Those three people been in the league. Those three people playing Kyle Walker, full of experience, been one of the best fullback in the league for the past 5 years. I'll say one of, if not, the best. He's definitely one of, and having him in that squad, I think is good. He has the pace, he has the strength, and everything with him. So having him is definitely beneficial to that squad. And then you have Broja that also been in the league. He played there at least for a couple seasons now, with Chelsea. I think, and then he went on loan, so he also played as well. So that's pretty good for him. And you also have the guy I'm talking about from Chelsea as well, the midfielder. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name, but you have those people. So that's a pretty good recruitment. But you play against Spurs, right? As much as I didn't want Spurs to win, but anybody that would have predicted the game would say Spurs gonna win. At least Spurs was the favorite going into this game, right? That on so many levels. First of all, Spurs higher caliber of player than Burnley. Burnley just entered the league. Spurs were in the league forever. So it's like and Spurs won 3-0 with what's his name, Richarlison shining in the game, and then you also had their new recruit in Kudus also providing the assist for both of the score, and then you have Johnson as well, just putting the icing on the cake with the third goal. So pretty good for Spurs, right? And now we saw them I think Spurs is definitely going to be a team to watch. Now I don't think they're going to win the league, absolutely not, or they're going to compete for the league. No, I don't think that. But in terms of them being better than they were last season in the league, absolutely. I don't I reckon they might finish around fifth, sixth, seventh. Like those positions, Spurs might be around there. For me, I think they might be around that position. We saw them against PSG. They didn't look awful at all. Now, I expected them to get, I don't know, destroyed, castrated, whatever the case may be, but it didn't happen. They actually showed some courage. They actually showed that they can compete. So that was good. And now they get to play in the Champions League as well. So obviously, they have to up their level and they have to increase, whatever style of play they have, and they have to work on it. And with the manager they have right now, I think he's pretty decent. He is pretty decent. So for a manager, he's pretty decent. And what he's doing with Spurs, it seems good. And the recruitment they're looking to bring in as well. So we know they're linked with Savinho. They also want Eze, and Eze wants to move, and Savinho also wants to move from City. So you have those two people now into that current Spurs squad. There could be something. I won't lie. Now, as much as I don't want Spurs doing anything in terms of winning trophy or doing anything good, I think there could be something there with what the recruitment they're trying to make, and it could be dangerous, right? Again, I don't think they're going to win the league or they're going to compete for it, but in that area, I think it's a good step forward for the entire club. Spurs, the recruitment they're making, then next season they can build off of that. But let's see how that goes. And then we move to Man City. Well, City had a somewhat terrible season last night, compared to their, based on their standard. So when we say City had a terrible season, where they finished in the league was not necessarily terrible. The way they played, their style of play, none of that changed. When whoever City plays, City still dominated the game in possession, in chance created, and everything like that. But for their standard, they drop a little bit, right? So when we say City had a terrible season, for me, that's what it means. Like their standard dropped a little bit last season, but they're picking it up, and the recruitment they have made. Reyners, we saw what he did in his opening match. Haaland is Haaland, right? The guy's there. He's a whole different breed. And then you have Cherki. He also came on show his class as well, right? So it's like they have brought in a pretty good recruitment in those players, right? With those players, they can go ahead and do a whole bunch of things that I don't think most people think they can do. Man City, for me, it's the team that people are sleeping on right now. I know everybody's going off on Liverpool as them being the favorite, and I get it with what they did last season, and then with the recruitment they are making, they absolutely should be seen as the favorite. But Man City, look at what Man City is doing. Cherki, he's no joke, and they still have Foden as well. That is technical as well. For me, maybe not as technical as Cherki, but definitely technical. And then you have Reyners as well, and then they still have Rodri, and now they're looking to bring in Rodrigo. They have what's his name, Doku. So you tell me, if they have a team of Rodrigo on the left hand side, Foden on the right hand side, you have Cherki in the middle, you have Reynolds with him, and then you have Erling Haaland. Tell me if this team is not going to win the league. If this particular team is not going to win the league. Now, listen, they're definitely a team. Obviously, they smashed Wolves 4-0, right? I'm not surprised. I am not surprised, right? I'm not surprised one bit. But hey, it happens. Congratulations to City. Again, we're looking to see what they will do in the league. For me, in Liverpool favorite, they're right there, right next to Liverpool. I think for me, personally, I'll put the both of them as favorite. And let's see how this whole thing turn out, right? So we move to Brentford versus Nottingham Forest. Yeah, Nottingham Forest. Everybody thought, like including myself. When I say everybody thought, including myself, right? I don't think they were going to repeat what I don't think they are going to repeat what they did last season. But again, I know they're also playing European football. Looking at that, I think that might cause them to drop level in the league, right? And I think that's the point of most people. But also the recruitment they're making. We already saw they brought in 2 players. They brought in McCarthy from City, and they also brought in Hutchinson from Ipswich. Those are pretty good additions. Hutchinson, I rate as a player. McCarthy is also a very good player as well. I think he can play as a 10. Hutchinson on the wing, and then you have Hudson-Odoi, and then Chris Wood is you, and then you already have Morgan Gibbs-White. What they're building is good as well, right? So I'm looking for now. They're beating Brentford 3-1. I think that's kind of like a statement, right? They telling people, hey, we stay here, we stay around, but I still think that level is going to drop though. Like most people think, I still think that level is going to drop. But I'm impressed with what I saw, the goals they scored and the way the start of the play they had. They have all what Nuno is trying to do with the team. And I think that's pretty good. And I'm looking forward to more of that from them. And well, not more of that, because I don't want you doing anything not supposed to do. The only thing I'm looking forward to doing a whole bunch of things is Chelsea. And speaking of them, let's move. Right, I already did a review of Chelsea game against Crystal Palace. If you haven't seen, you can go check that out. You can go in and check that out. But it wasn't the best start. It wasn't the worst either. Now the best would have been we decimate Crystal Palace, and then we come out with like a flipping 5-0 win out of that. That would have been great. The worst would have been we lost, right? But we didn't. We got a draw, nil draw, right? And the way Crystal Palace set up was good. It helped them. It didn't really help us. They came with a game plan, and I think we struggle whenever we face a low block team. And like I said in my review, Maresca need to find a way to kind of solve that problem, because we're going to be having a lot of those, right? There's not much team we're going to come against in the Premier League that will want to go head to head with us. It's not going to happen. So now we have to find a way to be able to dominate a game or win a game against a low block team. We have to. Otherwise, we're not going nowhere, right? But, it wasn't the worst. There are a couple people that impressed here and there, right? Eze looked good in the first half for me. Mateta also looked good. But Acheampong and Mateta, that was a good, good battle to see. The kid didn't back down. And if you watch again, go check it out. Go check it out. You'll see what I have to say about that. But, brilliant performance from Acheampong. Esteva came on, he looked alive. Neto was also alive. Palmer got a little messy in the second half, and that's not because of Palmer not just being out of it, but because of the way Crystal Palace set up. They set up purposely to make sure Palmer is not doing anything, right? And the way they move, so it's like they came with a plan. So we weren't really playing any kind of in between ball in the middle. None of that was happening. They didn't allow none of that. But and then when we play the ball to the wing as well, you already have 2 people that, like I said, in my review, when Esteva have the ball, you already have 2 people that is going at him. So that's what that's the way they set up, and that was interesting, right? But hey, let's see what happens next week, and hopefully it can be better, right? It definitely should be better. Maresca put it together. Well, we moved to Manchester United versus Arsenal. I think it was pretty much the game of the week, right? Everyone said the game of the week, everybody was looking forward to this one, right? If you're now a Manchester United fan or Arsenal fan, right? I don't like, I don't like Man United. I hate Arsenal, right? So I didn't really care who win the game. But deep down, I wanted Manchester United to win, not because, I like them. I just hate Arsenal more. But Arsenal won. Now their goal can be, is arguable. What Arsenal do in corners and set pieces, listen, the referees, right? Not just the referee, but there need to be an FBI investigation about this. I'm being honest with you. What they be doing with the goalkeepers and the foul that be going, what they be doing way too much. Listen, this investigation have to happen here at some point. But again, that's what it is, right? But Arsenal won 1-0. Man United didn't back down. Listen, I was surprised. I expected them to be, Man United to get dominated in every single sense, but that didn't happen. We saw what's his name, Cunha. Oh my God, oh my God. I think he's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be good for Man United. Just from this game that I see, if he can keep that, because now we already know what he did at Wolves, right? He was good for Wolves. He is a good footballer. I'm not gonna take that from him. But again, it's Man United. Will Man United just, I don't know, suffocate his talent, or they will find a way to make him even better than he was at Wolves? And we saw him against Arsenal. He was good, right? He was good. And Arsenal didn't back down. Liverpool, Man United didn't back down. They put up a fight. They played. They take it to Arsenal, and that was good. So they were unlucky tonight. I feel like at least they deserve a draw in that game, but it was unfortunate for them. And well, hopefully they can bounce back, right? And not to do anything insane, but they can bounce back from that. But congratulations to Arsenal. Hey, that sounds a little off. Yeah, I shouldn't be saying that, but they won, right? I think they shouldn't have won, but they did, right? So we'll see what happened with that, and in the upcoming game in week 2, right? We look forward to what's happening in week 2. So it's gonna be another one. It's gonna be another interesting one. But hey, I'm planning on doing a La Liga review as well, right? So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that, right? I'm waiting for Madrid to play, and once Madrid's done, I'm gonna do a review for the La Liga again. I know there's mad things going on there, right? Yamir is alive. What's his name? Nico Williams also, killing it. And then Alvarez, did you see his free kick? Mama, oof. But hey, let me know your thoughts down below about everything we discussed in regards to the Premier League games that took place. Which game was your favorite game, to watch? Obviously, if you're a Chelsea fan, I don't think you're gonna say Chelsea game, that's for sure. But which game shocked you the most? Which player impressed you the most from the week? Well, in fact, get me your Premier League players of the week. What will be your lineup? Your Premier League players of the week. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Hit the like button. Don't forget. Hit the subscribe. See you later. Thank you very much. Cheers.